Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bidoof Champion Showdown Tournament Season 2 Finals video. So,
Woo!
we
Yeah.
have decided to come together to produce a little finals video to talk about the finals, since it's a pretty hype moment, uh, and give you guys a little bit of a lowdown of what you should expect as we run through the bracket in the next couple weeks. So, I am Oogway Onslaught, aka Anthony, and joined by my fabulous co-hosts, who I will let them introduce themselves in order.
Hey everyone, I'm just Mario 333 Brady. I'm here to talk about the upcoming games that we're gonna have. So excited.
Uh, hey, it's your boy Magawa, captain of the Aleki Boogaloo, number one kill leader this season. Yeah, I'll brag. I'll
Shameless
brag
promotion.
about it. Yeah, shameless plug, and here to talk about all the people I'm gonna beat for this final
Whoa!
season. Yeah.
Whoa!
Hey guys, I'm Emu Hunter. I'm the only guy that took down Brady this season, which
Ooh.
Megala did not do. So he can keep his little kill leader trophy if you'd like.
Hey yo, it's Captain Butterfish. The person that got 6-0'd by Brady. Here to talk about some cool games.
All right. There are our beautiful and wonderful hosts, all of us Vanna White, out here. And we are about to give you some serious Pokemon Showdown knowledge. So, we're going to go team by team, game by game, give you guys an idea of, how we think teams are going to match up, how teams have done this season. We're going to try not to get too detailed for fear of, giving away secrets or hints, but we're just going to try to run you guys through what we think of each game and how we think it's all going to go. So, Brady, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Which side do you want me to start off with?
Let's
Who do you want me
start
to
with
talk about?
my game and Jaylyn's, and then move up
Okay.
from there.
So I'll start by talking about Jaylyn's team real fast here. Jaylyn's team has obviously been pretty dominant this season. Everyone's seen it. He started out, I think that with his trades, he kind of shifted from a hyper offense team to closer to more of a balanced team with his tanks. He tends to like to pivot between his tanks and his sweepers to try to get some cheeky little kills here and there while also preventing anyone from being able to gain any real momentum against his team. It's been working out for him very well so far in the season. And then shifting over to Anthony's team. Anthony's team is a dual rain and sun team, and it has sweepers on both ends and has some solid tanks that kind of can work on either of them. So it's a pretty interesting team in that regard, where it can kind of do a lot of things and have a lot of different functions. Excuse me. And I think in this matchup, I think that it's going to be a little bit difficult for Jaylyn to be able to predict what weather that Anthony's going to be bringing. However, if Jaylyn can call it correctly, then Anthony's going to have a really difficult time then breaking through Jaylyn's walls on his team that he's set up. So between the two of them, I think that it's going to be an interesting match for sure, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. So good luck to both of you boys in that regard.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm not as confident after just suffering a crushing defeat to Jaylyn. Um, I think I can echo a lot of what you said in terms of what our teams actually are. I think I've got a lot of versatility, but there are a lot of common like resistances across my move pool that Jaylyn can kind of exploit. So, and obviously, uh, it's really hard for me to break through some of his better mons. So, as fun as the Sun Rain team was, I don't know if it was really the play, but I'm gonna try to do my best with it and play well, and we'll see what happens, I suppose.
So, Tony over here, the man with two weathers in the palm of his hands. Tony, the man with two first names. I think that one thing I will echo his statement is his team is highly unpredictable. There's a lot of different things he can do with his team and many different strategies, which does make my usual prepare into the ground, predict what my opponent is going to do. I tend to be very good at building my team before my enemy, and it's kind of hard to do that when your opponents build a team that's difficult to predict. But I think that this is going to be like the dual weather. This will be the show. Was it just a gimmick, or does it work? And I hope it works and that I win anyway. Because for those of you who don't know, Tony's the one who knocked me out of the playoffs last season. So I wouldn't mind.
Forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
I wouldn't mind repaying the favor after that freaking Mega Altaria, which he didn't bring in basically any of his other games, just demolished me with Cotton Guard.
You never see it coming. You never.
I never saw it
I didn't
coming.
see it coming until the playoff game.
So yeah, I'm hopeful for myself, but we'll find out.
So I am very, very excited about this matchup. I think we have two very, very good players battling it out in the very first round. Jaylyn's obviously been very consistent all season. I think, Lucky, based on the MVP and stats, is definitely the most terrifying Pokemon in this league. It just has so much versatility, so it can literally do whatever he wants it to, which is really, really nice. And it kind of works under perfect synergy with the rest of his team, depending on what it needs. So not much to say there. Team works really well. I think I was going to say about the unpredictability, too. I mean, not only is Tony's team unpredictable, but I feel like he brings kind of some crazy stuff at times too. Like I remember in my game, I was completely taken off guard by both like Choice Scarf and then also doubling the speed with Sun. So I think it'll be a really fun game to watch. I think Jaylyn's usually a little more grounded and traditional with his prepping, which is why it works so well. But I'm excited to see what Tony brings out because clearly he can bring out whatever he wants to, but it's definitely going to be Sun.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this game. Two absolute titans. I think most of strategy and stuff has been kind of talked on by everyone else, but something that you guys didn't mention that we've seen in previous games is the ability of both of these teams to set up and absolutely just sweep the game. Tony with his Poliwrath combo, we saw that absolutely brutal. And then Jay with his Volbeat pass to Reggie or one of his sweepers. So yeah, we could absolutely see a back and forth, but we could absolutely also see a sweep. So
well, I think that was a lovely recap. Should be a fun game to play in and to watch, unless it's just an immediate sweep by Jaylyn. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. All right. Next up, we have Captain Pufferfish and Konner. Brady, do you want to take us away with that one?
Sure, absolutely. Let's start with Noah. Let's start with your team, Captain Pufferfish. So Noah's team has an interesting synergy in terms of typically what he will like to do is he'll have some very, very tanky Pokemon, and those tanky Pokemon will either set up for other Pokemon or they'll set up for themselves. So something like Clefable, Wishy-Washy, Jirachi, those kinds of things. Mons that have a lot of natural bulk inside of them, so that they're just able to tank hits over and over and over again. And if he's able to then either pass that to another Pokemon, or he's able to get fully set up with that Pokemon and then potentially sweep. I mean, that in of itself is dangerous, but then on top of that, he's also got Revival Blessing Mons that can revive those tanks to get them back up to full. And on top of that, he's also got one of the fastest Mons in the league. He's got Dragapult. That Mon is incredibly dangerous. as everyone has seen and known, I mean, that Mon, when it gets anything set to it, is basically unstoppable. So between all of that, that is a very dangerous team in of its synergy and of itself. And then also we've got Konner's Ice team. Konner's Ice team, like any other season, if someone said they were running a Hail team, I think I would have laughed. But obviously in Gen 9, Snow got a huge buff, and it's no longer Hail. And Konner has done an amazing job of making his team work so far. I mean, it has natural synergy in of itself. It's got very high defenses, both from Heat Ran and then also just from the Snow. Every single one of its Mons gets that is an Ice Mon gets a physical buff just for that alone. So it's incredibly hard to take down one of his Mons in a lot of different capacities. Heatran being his Terramon was a huge advantage for him, and we've seen that in his later games where people have had an incredibly difficult time actually breaking him down. So between all of that, and then Bax Caliber being able to Dragon Dance away, he has had amazing sweeping potential into that. So between those two, I mean, like it could be a matter of who gets set up first and who gets set up how, you know. So between those two, it's gonna be an interesting game. I'm genuinely interested to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I will admit, I absolutely underestimated Connor's team. I underestimated that and his play. It's very good. It's straightforward, but it works, and I will be quite interested to see how this game goes because I think we have two teams that were very straightforward this season, and so we could see some crazy plays come out in the playoffs. And that does bring me to Noah's team because I think Noah's team is in the unique position that I don't think I've ever seen another team in where he's run a very like predictable strategy, or maybe not predictable, I guess predictable, but like similar strategy in most of his games. Now that he's at the playoffs, you have the opportunity to like really do whatever, and people can't predict it because you haven't played like that for the rest of the season. So theoretically, there's some really good stuff that could come out of this. But well, I think your solid play has proven way better than I thought it was going to when I just saw that it was like the same thing every week. No, I mean, you play around your opponents and make it work. So I'm very interested to see how this game actually pans out, how the two teams are going to approach it.
This team is pretty near and dear to my heart. For those of you who don't know, I was there when it was made.
You were there. At the
I actually helped Noah construct the wishy-washy sweep team, and we knew that it at least once was going to 6-0 a game. So I was pretty happy about that. But even without the sort of there was an element to the team that was sort of a gimmick element, but the team's got strong Mons on it. Like there's some scary things on that team, and there are games when Noah was going to try to sweep with wishy-washy, but used a bunch of the early game trying to do a strategy that somebody countered, and then he still ended up winning. So there's some powerhouse Pokemon on that team, and there's a lot that he can do with it, and I think the team can play in a way that there actually hasn't been many teams that played that way this season. So I think that I personally think that there's some potential for Noah to come out and hit us with a big surprise, and really have some phenomenal play during playoffs. As for the Ice team, I also did not know what to expect from an Ice team. I didn't even know that like Hail teams were really a thing. But that Baxcalibur, he's a scary boy. I mean, if he gets a D-Dance off, that's going to be a pretty hard game to win. I mean, I had a Lowland Ninetales last year, Aurora Veil. I mean, that's a crazy strong couple of combinations, and for for a first season team to come together like that on a strategy that I didn't even know could really work. It's been really impressive. Um, and I'm excited to see how it goes during playoffs. And I definitely wish it the best. And yeah, give it your all. Fight like hell.
So Noah had mentioned that in the previous matchup between Jaylyn and Tony, he was excited to see like these teams and how they might be able to set up. Which I'm actually much more interested to see these two teams because like Jaylyn and Tony's style is very switch heavy and very predict heavy, whereas when I look at these two teams, both of them really want to set up. So I think what I'm interested about this matchup is that who can set up and who can deny the other setup is definitely going to be the X factor here. Because that's neither of these teams are super switch heavy. I think they both kind of just want to get their setup mons in a good position and then just kind of leave them in there until they overwhelm the opponent. So I'm curious to see what both teams' strategies are for denying that and then enabling it for themselves.
Yeah. Well, this is the game I'm least excited for. Yeah. At the beginning of the season during the draft, Konner, I seriously doubted if Snow was even viable, and you have proved time and time again during the season that, yeah, this team's an absolute powerhouse. Yeah, that Roarville back caliber, get a D dance off, and yeah, it's over. But yeah, beginning the first couple weeks of my team, it's kind of a one-trick pony with that wishy-washy, passing some stats to him. But throughout the season, trying to kind of learn how my team works more, getting creative with it. I'm going to try out some interesting strategies. I don't want to talk too much strategy or give Konner an edge or anything, but I'm coming for you. I'm ready. Yeah, this will be a fun one.
Wow, some fighting words there from our competitor. I love it. All right. Next, let's hop over to Camden's team. And maybe let's just focus on Camden's team since we've already talked about the last two. Although I suppose if we want to put in a brief, like, oh, if this team were to win, we can totally go for that. Up to you guys. But Brady, can you start us?
Yeah, so Camden's team is one that hasn't been viable in other fields of play because electric terrain hasn't really been a thing in singles for the longest time because Tapu Koko was banned for so long. So at the inception of the season, I wasn't 100% certain how this was all going to work out. I had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen, but I wasn't 100% certain. So seeing you take this team and just make it your own and have a really good time with it, I mean, this team has really been able to work for you. And yeah, you've collected significantly. You had Iron Jugulus at first, but I mean, it wasn't natural for your playstyle to work that way. So I think having Iron Thorns as a Terramon for you to be able to set up, along with all the other mons like Iron Bundle, that offering that immediate pressure, everyone on your team coming together for different roles and functions inside of your electric terrain, I think has been really, really beneficial for you. So I love this team. I think that this team is really, really good. I think that it definitely has some very strong winning potential going forward. I mean, I know that I brushed over this, but the thing about Camden's team that I think is the most interesting is Camden basically has to trade Mon for Mon. He doesn't have a great tanking system. So overall, he's basically coming in and he's gonna sack something when it comes in, unless if it has some really good pivoting. But that being said, he's got the mons to get the job done when they need to get the job done. So Iron Bundle when it comes in, it's gonna pick up a kill basically. There's nothing that wants to switch in an Iron Bundle. Iron Thorns pivots into the field, it gets a Dragon Dance off, and it's got loaded dice Rock Blast. That's killing. I don't care who you are. That's death, right? Even if you resist Rock, that's probably death. So it is. It is an incredibly good team in that regard. Where if you're going to be trading Mon for Mon, this is the exact hyper offense team that you're going to want. So, anyways, kudos to you, Camden. It's been really cool seeing you play throughout the season, and I'm excited to potentially be able to play with you in the playoffs.
Yeah, Camden's team is very scary. I know personally, I had to prep a lot to play against it. It's just there are just a lot of threats. Normally, when I look at a team, I try to like narrow down who the threats are and then over prep for those. Camden's team is hard because there's just a lot of threats. So it's a it's a really strong team. Camden plays it very well. Um, I think it all comes down to agency, really. Is the agency gonna? Did he buy off the agency? That's the real question. Uh, but no, for real, he will be whoever goes against him is gonna have a really tough time because he's a very strong opponent. Um, it's a solid, very aggressive team, and I'm uh, excited to see him perform.
Sorry, I was still muted. Yeah, I can say that this is a strong team, a powerful team that hits hard. It is a heavy hitting, brawly team, but it does have the backside of it sort of it has its one strategy, and it does that one thing really well. Like it does it phenomenally. It's worked, but it does have its one strategy. But if the strategy's strong enough, if Tapu Koko, you turn into like an iron bundle and just start killing stuff. Yeah, so that's a pretty solid strategy. It's gonna win you a lot of games. And we've seen that Camden has definitely had the ability to prep to fight against specific teams when he wants to. We also saw the team pick up some losses this season. Congratulations to Noah and the Wishy Washy for ending Camden's win streak. For those of you who don't know, he was undefeated pretty much last season.
Lol.
The credit of destiny.
And the crit of destiny. So I think that Camden is certainly in that game. He's fallen prone to something that I've fallen prone to in the past, which is overthinking a play. But I definitely think that this team has got some real potential to take it all away, and I am not excited by the fact that if I win my first match, I'm gonna have to go straight into this match. Because I almost won my first game against him, and I have a feeling the second game is going to be a lot harder because he's seen the way I prepped the first game. So, gonna have to come up with some new stuff. So yeah, scary team. Hoping I get a rematch here, and it's gonna be a task to overcome.
Yeah, I'm very excited to fight either one of my opponents to be. I don't know how to put that, but yeah. I mean, obviously the game against Jaylyn probably snuck away with one that I probably shouldn't have there, and game against Tony was really close no matter how you look at it. So either way, it should be a super super fun game to play, and I'm really looking forward to it. One question I was going to ask is, would Noah have snapped the win streak, or are we considering Brady's beating me in the playoffs? Would that have snapped the win streak? Is it just like a regular season win streak, or because technically
I was thinking a regular season win streak.
Okay, so then then Noah did break the streak. So hats off to you, Noah. I think they hit it on the head pretty well. I think looking around the league, my team is definitely the most hyper offensive. I rarely have a game that goes really over like 20 turns. There's not such a thing as stall really on this team, and Brady put it perfectly that when one of my Pokemon switches in, it's either taking 2 Mons or it's dying itself. So it's basically just about like, can you make enough predicts and can you outlast the hyper offense that it outputs? And then if so, you're probably going to win. So I think it's really, really interesting. I'm excited to see because both Jaylyn and Tony are pretty defensive players. They both like to switch a lot. So I'm really curious to see what kind of strats they come up with to combat it. So it should be really, really fun. I'm excited for whatever whatever opponent comes my way.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Yeah, Cam, this team is insane. This offensive style is ridiculous. I beat you by a cosmic fluke and nothing more than that. You guys are giving me far too much credit for this. Um, yeah, this team is ridiculous. I gave up. This is the only team in both seasons that I gave up prepping because could not have an answer. I couldn't find an answer for every one of your mons and the strategies that you run. I completely overlooked the Bronzong. Should have absolutely lost there. And then you have bundled Coco, Hydreigon, and just everything on this team just hits so damn hard. That Iron Thorns, Rock Blast, like Brady said, it just kills everything. So yeah, whoever goes up against this team is going to have an incredibly hard time prepping. I think more so than any other team in this playoffs.
Well, I think that was an excellent summary, everybody. Now, last but certainly not least, we have Brady to talk about, and we have the man himself to talk about it. So,
Yeah, Brady to talk about Brady. What's better than that, right?
amen.
Oh
Amen.
boy.
That's actually his favorite subject. It's his favorite subject to
No.
talk about.
It's not. It's really not.
What can I say about this team? I have absolutely loved this team this season. It's been so much fun. Mainly because of the worst mons on my team, it's become the best team. And I mean that like yeah, Annihilate's an amazing mon, Dragonite's an amazing mon, but everyone knew that when I drafted them. Goldango's an amazing mon. It's like everyone knew when I was drafting all these mons, like yeah, they have such huge powerhouses, but like, what are they, they're just one mon, right? But I think by far the biggest MVPs on my team have been my Grafai and my Spidops. I bring one to basically every single game, and they just work so well. They just do everything that I want them to do, and it's beautiful. It allows me to basically make the game. I feel like a conductor with this team. I can just kind of make it play out how I want to. It's got its weaknesses for sure, but like the battle, it just feels more fluid because of my pivot mons and because of the things that I have. And then also my two Rotom appliances, like I think Rotom appliances are some of the best mons in the game, and having two of them on my team has been nothing but helpful. I've won so many games because of them, and it doesn't really look like it because they're not the ones picking up kills, but if you look back at a lot of games, like they're the reasons why I ended up winning. So I have to give credit where credit's due. My worst mons are some of my best mons, and the people, I love all of my Pokemon, and this has been a fun team, so.
Yeah, I would disagree with you. I don't think the MVP is Spidoffs or Grafai. I think it's you using them. You've mastered some of these mons that have really tricky play styles. I think probably more than anybody else in the league at this point. So playing around them is a nightmare for your opponents. On top of that, it works extremely well with your setup heavy strategy. So yeah, just kind of echoing what you've said. It's a really good team. At first, I was like, oh, I don't know if you should switch out the Ursaluna and yada yada, but it's really good. It's very good. And yeah, I think I think mostly your play style is just the trickiest thing to get around. So whoever goes up against you is gonna have a hard time regardless of their team because it's not necessarily the matchup so much as the play style that they're gonna have a really tough time with. So um, yeah, it's gonna be a beast of a match, but it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, this team, Brady, to saying that Brady loves his setup mons is I feel like a bit of an understatement. This is sort of the type of team where like if you give him an opening one turn at any of the wrong times, it can just be game. Because he plays that way, and he's it's a scary thing to go against because I think that one of the things that like Brady is really good at as a player is like exploiting an opponent's mistake, which we're all prone to mistakes. in the height and the pressure of the moment. And I feel like he's built his team into that strength of capitalizing on mistakes. So if you give him an opportunity and an opening, he's gonna get an acid armor off or a dragon dance off, and it's just gonna be a hard day for you. He can both help himself create openings. He can exploit them really well, and he's really good at seeing when he has the opportunity. Like he knows when the opening's there. So it's kind of like this game's definitely beatable, but you can't really, especially if he's playing at the top of his game, you can't make any mistakes, or else he's gonna 2-for-1 you on with one of his mons, and then you're just gonna be way on the back foot, and it's gonna be hard to come back. So yeah, I think that like a lot of the games I lost this season, I was like, damn, I made some stupid mistakes. I really could have played that better. But my game against Brady, I made some mistakes, but they weren't necessarily stupid mistakes, and they were only really mistakes because of how well Brady utilized them. So that and not to mention the fact that if I get the championship, I will have to beat Tony, Camden, and then if Brady wins both of his games, then Brady after that. Oh my God, it's a tall order. Yeah, I would not be surprised if this team takes it all away. To be honest, when I first saw it, I underestimated it. Like I definitely thought Camden was going to be the big terror. I remember right after the draft, Noah and I hopped into a channel. And we were like, "Dude, Camden's team is terrifying," and I actually didn't really see all the strength in Brady's team, but boy, do I see it now.
Power of monkey, baby.
It's the monkey. It's the monkey and the rotoms. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Yeah. And dude, next season he's just gonna draft all the rotoms, and we're all just gonna be fucked.
It's
There's gonna be no winning then. It'll be rough. But yeah,
Not the
yeah,
refrigerator.
great, yeah, not the refrigerator. Great season, Brady. Definitely excited to see your matches, and would not be surprised to see you take it all away.
So I think it's kind of cool to see the difference, like the dichotomy here between me and Brady, because mine's kind of the hyper offense and Brady's the exact opposite, where he's hyper defense. I mean, you look across his board, his fastest mon is basically, I mean, it's like Wug Trio, which he's like never brought.
The secret, he was saving it just for the finals.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he was hoping that his opponent thought about that.
This is where we start closing in.
True. But yeah, so I mean, you can see all of his mons are, pretty slow, pretty tanky. And me and Brady do a lot of our prepping together, which I think has been so hard for me this season to help him prep, because I've never really seen the dream with the team. But I think Brady does such a good job of piloting it. I mean, it's definitely one of the most high skill ceiling intensive teams you need to pilot, because there is a lot of predicts and a lot of defensive switches that you have to make pretty much at all times, and a lot of reads. So I think it's definitely a very, very hard team to pilot. I've compared it to the mosquito of the draft league, because it's like beyond annoying to fight, because monkey or spite ops are constantly screwing with whatever you want to do. So, and then of course you've always got Dragonite to come in the back and Dragon Dance, Terra Normal, E-Speed, whatever you have left, what remnants you have left of your team. So I think it's a good team. It's definitely one of the more interesting teams in the league, and I think it's piloted by a very, very capable person, and I'm very excited to see what either Konner or Noah has to respond if they're going to try and slow play him, because you can either play to Brady's strengths and kind of try and stall it out, but I think when you see that against like in Brady's game against Noah, for instance, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but that looked like hell, actual jail. So yeah, I'm interested to see if Brady's opponents are going to try and overwhelm him, or if they're going to try and kind of play to Brady's game. So curious to see how that's going to work.
Yeah, Brady, I got a love-hate relationship with this team. I love the build of this team. but I hate playing it. You are the master puppeteer of this draft league with this team. Personally, I think you have the best Terra Captain too. You can do so many things with Dragon Knight. It's terrifying and impossible to prep for. Yeah, playing against you, I didn't know what the hell you were running on it. I made wild guesses. If please let it be Konner playing you. I'll just say that. Yeah, this team, it's incredibly tanky. You just switch to Grafii, and yeah, you shut down my team in an instant with that thing. Like Cam said, absolute jail cell, absolutely torture playing this damn team. I am gonna come out and say it. My money's on Brady to win it all. Yeah, I think you're in your element when you're playing this team, Brady. I think it really plays into your unique play style. Yeah, I think you're gonna take it all this season. And then, hey, Tony, you don't have to ship the trophy because you guys live together. So
Well, I'm thinking about whether I should make a new trophy per season and then just like send it out. Cause like, what if like we send it to somebody and then they don't want to play the next? Anyways, but we'll worry about
When we
logistics
hunt them
later.
down.
dude,
You know how
if
that goes.
if I somehow win
You're
this
never
damn
giving it
tournament,
up.
I'm retiring.
Yeah, exactly. So we might just make a new trophy per season. But anyways, um, okay, that was an excellent cap up. I did forget to mention in the intro, all of these games will be played best 2 out of 3 with the same teams. So, that eliminates, any cheeky strats just one-shotting you, and it gives us a better overall idea of who, would win. So, um, it also kind of hypes the matches up a little bit more because if it's 2 out of 3,
Yeah.
it's like a big deal.
If I
So
somehow beat Konner and I somehow get a game on Brady, there's no way I'm getting 2.
hey, you never know. You never know. You never know. Um, that being said, schedule is this week is going to be the playoffs. Next week will be the semifinals, and the championship will happen the week after that. So it'll be a pretty quick season, but finals bracket, but should be intense, packed with violence. All the teams fight. Oh my gosh, it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy. So I did also want to say thank you guys for an amazing season. We've had a blast. We've had so many teams do so many cool things with so many cool mons. We've had players who have like learned a lot from previous seasons and are not where it feels like we're all kind of growing, especially Brady. It's very scary. No, I'm kidding.
I actually feel like if you want to talk about like most improved player, I would literally be on the bottom of the list because like I haven't grown a bit. But that being said, like everybody
you learned to use
around
monkey.
me,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Brady just didn't get the team he wanted last season, and I think he built an awesome team this season. I think that's straight up what it was.
I think that's exactly what it was. I honestly think that people this season have been growing so dang much. It's crazy. I mean, like even people who are at like the top of the roster. Like I look at like Jaylyn. Like Jaylyn learns more every single game. It's like watching an AI play chess, where it like learns your moves and then like learns how to counter your moves like after the fact.
Yeah. Just don't put a captcha before the game.
Yeah, true. Otherwise, he's screwed.
Yeah, that I'm done
Which
for.
of these pictures has a fire hydrant in it, Jaylyn?
Oh fuck!
But like legitimately, like everybody has done so incredibly well this season. There's a lot of new players, and those new players have blown me out of the water. I mean, like I look at teams like Mundy's. I mean, Mundy's team, like he drafted that last minute. From the next morning, he had like what 12 hours, and that's
Yeah.
including 8 hours of sleep to prep an entire
It
team.
wasn't including 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. Like it's like he had
Yeah.
absolutely no time, and he did an incredible job this season. It was really.
I'll
awesome
be real with
watching
you.
him
I
play.
still don't know what Mundy's Terra Captain is.
Don't worry
That's
about
right
it. The
there.
secret.
But like legitimately, good job everybody. It's been really fun watching you, and I'm looking forward to next season for a lot of you, and I'm looking forward to this season for the rest of you. So this will be fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any final thoughts from the rest of the council?
Very excited for the next season.
Yes, next season.
Yes, we
Maybe an
should
interim
announce
season.
that. Yes. So, due to Brady and I taking a trip. That's
Sabbatical.
gonna leave us. Yeah. We're gonna be gone for like a month and a half, essentially. So we are gonna push the next season out to June. However, we are going to be doing a mini randoms tournament in the middle to kind of tide people over. It'll only be a couple weeks, and it'll just be random, so you don't even have to worry about prepping. But we'll release more details on that after this season. So we won't totally starve you like last time, but next season is not going to be next week either. So, uh, yeah, it should be enough time to like kind of get people mellowed out from this last season. And we really didn't want to start it and then leave for a month because that would, as shown with like Thanksgiving and Christmas, starting it right before a break kind of sucks. So we'll keep you updated on that, but that's our tentative schedule. All right. I think that's it. Any last tiny final thoughts?
No, I'm looking forward to the playoffs with you boys, though.
Yeah,
It
it's
should
gonna
be
be
fun.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, rock and roll gamers, thank you all again so much for playing. We can't do this without you. You guys are the best, and it is so fun to see you guys play and to play with you guys. So, uh, we will see you guys during and after the bracket.
Yep.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
See ya.